Hi, I'm Chef Jonathan Locke, and today we are talking about microwaves. This is a fairly typical example of a microwave. If you look at it, it's got numbers on the front. You use those to program both power and time. It's got a turntable in the middle. Now, the way that microwaves heat are by a form of radiation. Please don't be scared of the word. Everything is radiation. It just means radius. Remember that from math? It goes out in a circle. That's what radiation is. It's some sort of wave that goes out in all directions at once. So microwave radiation is actually an adaptation of radar. And what it does is it agitates the molecules without a direct application of heat. You need to understand that because this is a unique form of radiation, it doesn't work with everything. Here we have an array of things that can and can't go into microwaves to use as a cooking container. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, maybe. Maybe is plastic. And you can tell whether plastic is microwave safe by turning it upside down, looking at the bottom. This one has nothing on it, therefore no, because it will say quite clearly, microwave safe. It's real important. When you are using this critter, there are certain things to remember. It does have a lot of built-in safety features simply because of the mechanics of the way that it cooks. You're not going to be splattered the way that you are with stovetop things. You're not going to burn yourself on a hot pan because you're not putting a pan in there. However, microwaves, when you put in a cup of water for a cup of tea, which is a very, very common thing to do, have a property called superheating, which can be potentially dangerous. You take a cup of water, you stick it in your microwave, and you program it for too long. I won't do that, but say you program it for 60 seconds. If you superheat this, what happens is that it doesn't boil. It just sits there at above boiling temperature, and you can't really tell. And so when you reach in to get the thing and you agitate it, all of a sudden that agitation can break the surface tension and cause it to splash out. That is one of the few dangers of microwaves. There are some others that we'll talk about in a second. I'm down to 18. I programmed it for 60. And it should be, with 700 watts, it should be really hot by now. So let's take a look at it. Now I'm going to do this kind of carefully because we don't want to end things too early today. And it's steaming, and it's hot, and it's ready, and the whole cup, I can tell from the outside, is quite hot. So that's one thing to be careful about. It's not a mistake that happens very often, but when it does, it really hurts. Another mistake in microwaves. I have a little tray of yes and no things here. No. Everybody knows about this, but we'll talk about it again. Because the microwaves do act on the insides, they will be heating this. Now, they are also going to act on the eggshell, but the eggshell isn't going to do anything. It isn't going to do anything until the insides get so heated up that they, like most liquid things, when heated, start to expand. Normal physical property. Well, the eggshell can't expand. It's not flexible. It's not built for that. And so what it will do after a few seconds in a powerful microwave or longer in a less powerful microwave is it will blow up all over the place. And although this may seem like a spectacular and desirable effect to watch, cleaning it is a nightmare. Potatoes are another thing. If you don't release the pressure in the potato, you've all heard that you can bake a potato in a microwave, and you can indeed. But if you leave the skin intact, the pressure on the inside, because potatoes are very wet, will build up and it will blow little holes through it, and it will make it look really awful. So you simply pierce them with a fork all over the place to release some of the pressure. And if you look at the directions on something like this is broccoli, and it comes packaged in a neat little container, and the neat little container is itself microwavable. And they will tell you the broccoli, of course, has been cut and it's been partially cooked and frozen with a little bit of water on it. And they will tell you on it, please pierce it with a fork in several places before you stick it in the microwave. And that, once again, is to release the pressure. If you're cooking raw broccoli, it goes exactly the same way. What you're doing is you're reproducing this same method that they've told you about on the back of the package. And so, what you would do, we'll do it, is you would hack off your little florets. Cut them into the size you want. And of course, the smaller they are, the quicker they're going to cook. That's true no matter what cooking method you're using. And then we put them into a bowl with a little bit of water in the bottom so that they're going to steam. That'll be about right for this. And then we're going to cover it. What we're doing here is we're creating a little environment where the hot spots and the cold spots have a chance to even out. The pressure building up under here and the fact that they are all in an environment which has basically a closed top with a little vent in the middle gives it an opportunity to even out the heat and make the cooking more or less even. So you don't have the hot spots and the cold spots, and it will sit and it will even out. Now, you can have a vent in the middle or you can have a vent at the side, but you must have a vent. That's the poking the holes in it. If I were going to close it like that, I would. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold out a little vent over here. And then we're going to stick it in here and turn it on. Now, when you have a turntable like this, you do not set it where I set it. You don't put it directly in the middle. What you want is a way, the turntables were invented, by the way, after several years of microwave improvements. And in old microwaves without a turntable, what you had to do was you had to stop in the middle of the cooking time and you had to rotate the thing. And the reason that you rotate it is the same reason that you rotate it in an oven when you're baking a sheet pan of cookies or something. There are hot spots, there are cold spots. Well, the microwaves may not go in evenly, and so you turn it so that they can approach the food differently. If you stick it right in the middle, you might as well not have a turntable because it's basically just sort of going around on an axis as if it were a chicken on a skewer. But if you stick it on the outside, it's going around like that. So there it is, a little bit off center. And I have a little bit of time left here, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to hit the reset button. It'll either be called reset or clear, same thing. And then broccoli at 700 watts, I'm guessing is going to take about 70 seconds. We'll check and see. It can either be 110, 110, and it will understand that you're talking about 1 minute, 10 seconds, or it can be 70. Now, what I would be doing, were I not doing this for you right now, is I would be waiting for a couple of minutes because even out of the microwave, the temperatures are going to be moving back and forth across here and kind of evening out. There is a little bit of settling time, which is normal in microwave cooking, so that you can have the heat energy settling down and evening out across whatever it is that you're cooking. So let's open it up. And with anything that may have steam, let's say this was completely covered. This would be a pot on the stove or anything like that. You always open it on the side away from you. You know, think about a lid. If you're opening the lid and you open it towards you, the steam goes right up here. So, same principle here. I don't have a pot to clean, I haven't had to heat up the stove, and I haven't had to heat up the house. So those are some of the main reasons that microwaves are so incredibly popular in homes. In restaurants, they will reheat things beautifully without scorching. Now this is a jelly donut, and this will give you a good idea of the difference in the way that outsides and insides of things can react to microwave radiation. If we take a jelly donut and we stick it in here and we program it, say, for 40 seconds, which really ought to get it blistering hot, different things, different substances carry microwave radiation differently. Water carries it beautifully. You can heat this cup of water in practically no time. Fat carries it extremely well. If you take a slice of cheese and put it on toast, the toast might be cool when you take it out of here, but the cheese will be bubbling hot because fat, and there's a lot of fat in cheese, carries microwave radiation really well. Sugar carries microwave radiation. Salt does to a certain extent. And so if you're salting things and you're putting them in the microwave, rather than doing it beforehand, do it afterwards so you don't get little hot spots from where the salt is actually touching the food. All right, here is our jelly donut. On the outside, it feels just a little bit warm. It feels nicely warm. But if you pick this jelly donut up and take a bite out of it, you are going to burn yourself. And I know this has happened to probably a number of you with pizzas, if you have ever microwaved a pizza. Because the crust may not be too terribly hot, but the cheese on the top will carry the microwave radiation, and it will be just boiling. Now, I'm just going to, ouch. Yes, trust me. So, differences in how the microwave radiation carries make a difference in how the thing heats. And it's real important to remember that, because if you bit into that, you would remember this jelly donut for the rest of your life. Another thing that is commonly cooked in a microwave is various forms of grilled cheese. Now, when you put bread into a microwave, you need to realize that almost all bread is going to have moisture inside it. And so, as it sits here like this, what's going to happen is the cheese is going to absorb microwave energy. The bread is going to be agitated enough that moisture will start to leach out of it, and the bottom is going to be soggy. And so you're going to pick this thing up, and it's going to be hot on the top and soggy in the bottom, and it's going to fall over like this, and it's going to burn your hands, and you're going to be upset. So, when you put it in there, and I've actually worked in restaurants where this was procedure. We made grilled cheese sandwiches, and they were like that big, and they had that much cheese in them. And so, of course, by the time you brown it on the grill, nothing's happened to the cheese. It's just sitting there going, am I still in the refrigerator? I'm cold. So what we would do is we'd get it brown on both sides, and we'd stick it in the microwave and melt the cheese. And every single new cook didn't know that if you don't put a paper towel or a paper napkin underneath it, it gets soggy on the bottom. So the new cooks would send out these expensive, gorgeous grilled cheese sandwiches, and the customers would stick their thumbs through the wet bread up into the hot cheese. It was a disaster. So we changed our training program to be something like this. Put napkin under, put in microwave. And then with cheese, remember, all you're doing is melting it. And so you would give it a real short shot until you know your microwave and learn how long it takes to melt some cheese. Always start low, because you can never go back. You can always add more. So here we are, at the end of 10 seconds. You can see it's not melted yet, but it has begun to soften. You can see a little bit more reflection there, which indicates that it's starting to liquefy a little bit. So I would say 10 seconds and probably another 10, and we're going to be all done. And then I will have half a grilled cheese sandwich. Now, other stuff that you can cook in the microwave includes oatmeal. And oatmeal is real commonly cooked in the microwave, but it is one of that categories of food which doesn't go any more quickly in the microwave. Okay, that's about done. Now this is American cheese, so you're not going to see it spread all over the place because it's got things in it that help it maintain its shape. And that's why it's part of the reason why it's the most popular hamburger cheese in the country. But if you can you see there how moist this towel is? And all of that came out of the bread. And had I not done that, this whole back side, which is now just nice, feels like it ought to, would be soaked. Oatmeal is in that category of things which has to absorb liquid to cook. When you're making this in a microwave, you can either mix it with milk or with water. But think about things like rice and pasta and oatmeal. They're not done cooking until they've absorbed a lot of water. Well, they're not going to do it any more quickly in this than they are in the stovetop. The difference is basically in cleanup. The ability to cook and eat in the same container is one of the main features of microwaves. The other features are the safety aspect. The microwave itself does not really heat up a heck of a lot. I can feel a little bit of warmth on the top after having used this, but it dissipates, and in the time I've been talking, in this 5 seconds, it's cool again. If I reach inside, this tray that I used 30 seconds ago is cool. So there's nothing to burn me here except the things that I am heating. When you're using a microwave, you never turn it on empty. The microwaves are going to be bouncing around in there, and they're going to be absorbed by what you put in. So you want something in the microwave every single time you use it. It's not like preheating an oven. It doesn't work that way. In fact, you will be told in microwave manuals that if you're putting in something that's really, really small, it's not going to absorb a whole lot of microwave energy. And so to defend the integrity of the machine itself, you put in a little cup of water next to it too, so that the stray microwaves don't just bounce around and bounce back and cook the magnetrons that are actually sending the microwaves into the food itself. So it will heat things beautifully. It will do so in a way that is safer in general than a stovetop. There are things that you have to remember, because things that are in layers of two different substances are going to heat differently because of the way the substances react to the microwaves. So they're convenient, they're safe if you know what you're doing, they're easy, and you can put them almost anywhere. So a good tool, one that's easy to learn how to use, and one that is safe if used correctly. Thanks.